Privileged to hear from Pastor Gregg Nash, and he's going to teach on song leading. And praise the Lord, many years ago, 2004, I believe, my pastor called me into his office and he said, Brother Matt, I would like you to lead singing at the East Coast Baptist Church. And I said to my pastor, you want me to what? And he said, I want you to lead singing. And I remember going to a Bible Institute, and I had a music director up there who taught me the basics of music leading, or leading music right there. And it was like a flashback, and I went home, and I went back, and I went in front of the mirror, and I began to lead music and do all things and begin to practice like that. And I was discouraged. I really was. I felt inadequate. I felt like I wasn't doing a good job. And I had a preacher named Bill Burr. He came back and he says, you know what, you're doing a good job. And he says, the Lord has called you to be a music director and lead music, and you can do it. And then he gave me a couple pointers, and he says, you know, keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. And it encouraged me greatly. I remember you were a music director at the Shenandoah Bible Baptist Church. I remember calling you. You probably don't remember that, but you gave me wisdom over the phone, and I remember thankful for your willingness to take time and impart knowledge on me. I went to a music college, and I learned handiness, and it became an opportunity of a lifetime to lead music. And by the way, leading music is an opportunity of a lifetime. And there's power in the way you do it. And we are not going to get much better than Pastor Gregg Nash in teaching us how to lead music. I'm thankful that you're here. It'll be a blessing.
Well, gentlemen, when I was at Bible college, I used to watch Dr. Wendell Evans lead songs. Dr. Wendell Evans was taught by Jim Stoutenborough at the Bill Rice Ranch. He called Jim Stoutenborough. If you don't know who that is, that's fine. But those were, when you hear of Lee Roberson's song leader, and I don't know why his name fails me right now, J.R. Faulkner. I asked someone, I called down there at Chattanooga, and this is several years ago, and I said, do you have any videos of J.R. Faulkner leading songs? Because when I was in Bible college, I would watch Dr. Evans lead songs, and I just used to weep. I just thought, and the way Dr. Evans would teach song leading was he would say, gentlemen, it's not, song leading is more leadership than it is singing. Amen. The average song director in America is someone who was asked to do it by their pastor to be a blessing, but really has no degree in music. And I don't have a degree in music. I love music, but I don't have a degree in music. He didn't have a degree in music. Most song directors that I know learned what they did out of survival. And the more tips you can get, well, Dr. Evans used to get up and he used to say the song leaders that we have in our independent fundamental Baptist churches are shameful. He said they're disgusting. Well, what's that going to do? That's going to inspire you to watch. And man, when he would get up there and he would, let's take our song books, let's all stand and sing. And then man, when he was leading that song, and it wasn't necessarily the hand motions, although he was into the music, but the leadership that was there. There's two types of leadership. One is the motivational. Hey, we can do it. All right, hey, all right, yeah, let's do it. You know. And then there's organizational leadership. And you're one of the two. And what's sad is when somebody thinks they are a motivational speaker and they're not. Because, no, I got the pizzazz, I can do it. You know, I mean, we can. Why don't you write down what you're going to do so you can have a planned organized leadership. If you watch in working with Pastor Owens, he used to tell us this. He said, gentlemen, he said there's two types of leadership, organizational and motivational. He said, and since none of you are motivational, I highly suggest you learn to organize.
Amen.
And he said, you must learn to think through. Just like when a pastor gets up, how much respect would you have for a pastor if when it came time for the preaching, he goes, man, it's a big book. Boy, that's a big book there. Well, we did that last week. Okay, how about, you'd lose respect for him, wouldn't you? You can't do that as a song leader. If you're going to get up and lead, then you have to know, first of all, you have to know that song book. In my years of being in the ministry, I have worked with 4 hymnals. Each hymnal, and here we go. Pastors, that's awesome. If you can find a hymn book real quick, would you? Am I using this, Brother Andy, or this? Good, okay. The first thing you have to do as a song leader, if you're given that job, is you have to know your songbook. You don't have to know all the songs in the songbook, but if you aren't the pastor, do you all realize the song director is the second most seen man in the church?
Yes, sir. Right.
Next to the pastor, the song director is this. That's what Wally Beebe used to teach.
Right.
The song director has got to he's got to be just as organized. Well, it all starts with your songbook. So the first thing you would do with your songbook is you would figure out, what songs do we sing? And in this one, I'm looking at song number being the last one here. Star Spangled Banner, is that the last one? No, 680. There's 682 songs in this songbook. Okay? I love the Bible Truth Songbook. I think it's a wonderful hymn book. Okay? The average church sings about 100 songs out of the 650 to 700 that's available in an average songbook. Do you understand, as a song director, just because they don't know it doesn't mean that you can't sing it, but I'm going to show you how to properly introduce a new song. But do you all understand the power of music? Through the Bible, okay, God always uses music to lay the heart open so that the Word of God can be put in. And music is always used in conjunction with the Word of God. It's never used apart. In other words, separately. It's never used like without the Word of God.
Right. Amen.
Do you all understand the organization that King David put in Israel in the music ministry? Do you understand the 5,000-piece orchestra? Do you understand the 12,000-voice choir? Most people I've ever heard sing before is 500. That's the most in one place that I've ever heard sing. I've heard a 500-voice choir. They had practiced for about 3 hours. It brought me to tears. I couldn't imagine a 12,000-voice choir. So if it does not matter what size your church is, it does matter as a song director how important it is to you. Because you have to have the leadership that says, okay, if preacher asked me to be a song leader, then this is very important. This is very important to the service. Do you also understand, if your preacher gives you the privilege of being the first voice they hear? Welcome to Grace Baptist Temple. Welcome. I would practice my introduction. I was like, preacher, you sure you don't want to introduce the people? No, he said, you do it. So I practiced it. Welcome to, back then it was welcome to Shenandoah Bible Baptist Church. Welcome to Grace Baptist Temple. Welcome to Gospel Light Baptist Church. Let's all take our songbooks and let's all stand. I'm not that way. When I greet you, how are you doing? I'm Pastor Nash and things like that. But when you're up in the pulpit, you practice the leadership. I'm not trying to be a phony.
Amen.
But what is leadership? Leadership is not me trying to get you to follow me. Leadership is me determining the direction I'm going, and then, because what are you going to do when they sit there and they don't want to sing?
Yes, sir, right.
You know what song leadership is? It's, we're going to sing right now, and if you don't sing, I'm going to have a good time, and I'll pray for you while you don't sing, but we're going to sing right now, and we're going to have a good time.
Amen.
That's leadership. In other words, I don't care if you sing or not.
Right.
Your singing is not going to affect my singing. Do you understand? I have people in my church. I have a man in my church, and I'm praying for him and working for him. He hasn't sung one song in 2.5 years of me being the pastor there. Every time we stand and sing, he knows the songs. He's been in church probably about 25 years. He's very bitter. Okay? I don't care whether he sings or not. I wish he would. I wish he would for his sake, but his singing is not going to affect my song leading as a song leader or my song leader's song leading. Leadership says, we're going to sing, and we're going to have a good time, and we're going to sing unto the Lord.
Amen.
If you aren't careful, if you don't do your job well, you're going to repel people. Because when they see you get up there half-cocked, how come the teenagers are going to the rock concerts? Because when they come to church, the song director has an influence on everybody. And if he's not, I don't know of a time when I led songs where when I was done, I was a little bit winded. Sometimes I'm sweating. But if you don't give your all to what you're doing, then maybe that's why they're going to the rock concerts, where after an hour and a half under the heated lamps, they stand up and they're dripping with sweat and the crowd's going wild, and they go, those guys give their all. Then how come you didn't give your all to what you were doing? How come it was half-cocked? How come there was no forethought put into it? Part of being a song leader is, I don't want to take the podium from the preacher. You're a team player with the pastor. You know what Pastor Owen said to me when he asked me to be a song leader? Now, I had been a song leader at another church, but I'll never forget it. We walked into the auditorium. He had been there 2 weeks. I had just moved there, and we walked up on the platform. And he goes, I was standing here, and he stands here. He said, this is ours. Ours. He said, what can we do with these people? What can the Lord use us to do in the lives of these people? The song leader is the team player with the pastor. That's why he's watching. The pastor may make some adjustments. He's not going to throw me for a loop. And you know, shame on me for doing this, and you get to learn a little bit of me while I teach you this. But when I was up here and pastor was here, shame on me, he was concerned about visitors in the church. You know what I was concerned about? My next song. I was eating it, sleeping it, breathing it, hiccuping it, snorting it, whatever you like. I didn't care what visitors were there. You say, oh, how could you? I was focused on my next song. Because if I got up there and embarrassed him, that's the song leader for this church. They're making their basis, they're making the choice of their church. You shouldn't be on trial all the time, but you are.
Right.
Then it had to be right. And when I come to the podium, this is congregational song leading. This is choir directing. There's two different worlds. They're not the same. This is precision. This is from the elbow. And this is, when I come out here, this is spirit. This is transfer. This is, in other words, the choir didn't need to see me smile as much as the congregation did. The choir never heard me sing when I was directing them. The congregation, I led with my voice. Okay? So, it's very important that you understand when you're standing up there, if you've been asked to do it, it's a ministry of yours. It is a way. This is where I serve God's people in helping them praise God. Amen. That is my ministry. If it's just, I'm doing it until preacher can find somebody else, and then hopefully I can give you some tips tonight that will help you take you into maybe a realm where you can grow. You got to understand, music is a world that, one, nobody knows too much about. Okay? Second of all, it's something that you can't. The more you're comfortable with the music, the better you can lead.
Yes, sir. Right.
But if I come to the songbook and I'm like, oh my goodness, look at all those notes. It looked like a chicken dipped its feet in ink and walked all over the page. Oh my goodness. What in the world? Oh, let's do Amazing Grace again. Ready? Here we go. I can do that without looking at it. You've got to have some confidence when you come to the book. There has to be. That's why I think this. If you're a young man and you have time in your life, there's no substitute for piano. Every song director that calls me and says, what can I do to get more confidence in my song leading? I'll say, do you have time to take piano lessons? I don't. I play guitar. I play by ear. I'm now at a phase in my life where I can't do that. But if you're a teenager, you have the time. Right. Oh, no, I got to do... No, trust me, you have the time. Amen? And it is, and you'll never hear anybody say this. You know, I just spent too much time playing the piano. You do hear this a lot. You know, I wish I would have continued taking piano. But you don't ever hear somebody go, you know, I just learned too much about music. I did. I just know way too much. Those type people don't exist. The more you can learn about music, because watch this, guys. Remember, song leading is leadership. It is singing second. In the average church, if you can't lead the song, then who's the only other person in the whole church that's leading the song? The pianist. And in 9 times out of 10, it's a woman. Think about what I just said. I personally like a man pianist better. I think I've explained this before, but there's no such thing as a female concerto pianist. They don't make them. Women are made to follow. Men are more passionate than women. Men put more... That's why, praise God, God said when a woman's in the church, she's supposed to keep her mouth shut. I don't want to hear a woman preach. Right. Well, I just think that what we ought to... I couldn't imagine that. Praise God, we're independent Baptists. We hold to the book, and the book says, let the women keep silence in the church, for it is shameful for them to speak in the church. Now, with that in mind, if your leadership, she or he is looking for leadership. If you don't provide it, then you're at their mercy. And they don't want to lead it. They want to accompany you to lead it. Okay? So, as you think of leadership, you have to be acquainted with the songbook. If you have this book here, okay? How many of you have this book? Okay. Pastor Nettishine has 3 extra of those books. If you were in my song leading class in college, and I've taught this in several colleges for a whole semester, okay? We would work our way through this book, all right? We don't have that kind of time tonight, so I'm going to touch basics with you. But on page 51, okay, on page 51... On page 51, I believe in that songbook, do you have there the service format? Do you have the service format?
Sir.
Okay. It's got a cue card. I'm going to talk to you like you're a song director. Now, some of you are going to start a church someday, and you're going to be the pastor and the song leader. You're going to do it all. It will be you from the start of the service to the end of the service. And there won't... What is nice, and you better pick the right guy if you do it, a song leader lets the preacher breathe.
Yes, sir. Amen.
He lets the preacher breathe so that the preacher can get up, do announcements, then the preacher can step back, and he's thinking of the offering, if that's what's coming next, or he can think of what he's looking at the visitors, he's doing this. The song director gives the opportunity for the pastor to think of the next move. But if you're doing it all, then your only hope for organization, page 51, then your only hope for organization is that cue card.
Yes, sir.
I can let you know as a pastor, I've been a pastor at Gospel Light for 2.5 years now, I never get in the pulpit without a cue card.
Amen.
I would never wing it.
Amen.
You say, but once you've done it for so long, then you can... I've got visitors to introduce. I've got, and I thank God for my song director. Somebody told my song director, one of the speakers, I didn't really appreciate it, but they're not here tonight. But I had a visiting speaker come and he said, "So you're Pastor Nash's song director?" And he said, "Yeah." And he said, "Boy, I wouldn't want to be that. Pastor Nash is good." Boy, he said, "You'd never measure up." I was like, why would you tell somebody that? I was like, come on, man. Go easy on the guy. I love my song leader. It was just yesterday I was working with him on his song directing. I was working with him and he had song directing in college. But it was a joke, okay? And I'll just let you know. He said, "Pastor, I really don't know." I said, "Well, man, let me work with you on it. We're a team. I want to help him. I want to give him more."
Amen.
Now, that cue card right there, that order of service, you get that from your preacher. If you're not the pastor and the song director, then you get that cue card from your pastor for Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. I never go to Sunday school without a cue card.
Amen.
It tells me who had a birthday this week. Hey, visitors. I've got it all written down. If you catch me too far off guard too quickly, you'll find out how slow-minded I really am. Nobody's got time for that. Nobody. All I'm telling you is that cue card right there, you get that from your pastor. How many songs do you have in a service? Then that is how many songs. Next, in that book right there, now go to page number 55. Page 55. What you're supposed to do with this songbook, it takes about 2.5 hours because I've done it 4 times. Is you take a piece of paper, you can turn it sideways, and you make a column. How many songs does your service have? 1, 2, 3. In this case, I did about 5. I did song 1, I put a 1. 2, 3, chorus, invitation. And then you go through the songbook and you start at page 1 and you start, do I know that song? Does the church know that song? The pastor gave me a songbook to the song director saying, here, every song that our church knows is circled. And it was circled with a permanent blue marker. He said, if it's circled, we sing that on a regular basis here. You either do that or you got to figure it out, right? So it helps when the pastor helps the song director say, here's the church songbook. Those songs that are circled, we sing on a regular basis. Then it's your job to go through that book. And you would then put them in the column. Is this a song we want to start the service with? Is this a middle song? Or is this a song right before the preaching, not song number 3? And it's your job to categorize the whole book. And if it's a song do you see that song list? See how it's got 1, 2, 3 on it? See how there are some songs there? See the first songs that are red? A song highlighted, like I did that in red, would be a song for Christmas. That'd let me know that's a song for Christmas. Hark the Herald Angels Sing. I then would outline, because you can do a lot on a computer, okay? You can do a lot on a computer. I would then outline the songs in blue for, red, white, and blue, patriotic songs, okay? Then I would do yellow songs for missions, when we had a missions conference, or when preacher says, I'm preaching on soul winning tonight, let's do a soul winning song, something like that. But we had a missions conference, so that's when we target those missions songs and songs on soul winning. I would put those in the regular lineup, but I also had those outlined in I had a file. Once I get this typed, it was normally about 4 pages. Song 1, Song 2, Song 3, chorus, and invitation. Then I kept it in a folder and it stayed right by my desk. Then I took that congregational order of service and I had every order of service. My job as the song director was to do the cue cards for the church. Okay? Who gets a cue card? The pastor. I needed one. The pianist needed one. The song guy needed one, and if you have a deaf ministry, they need to know what songs to, because they got to rework through those. They got to work through them, and they don't like working through a songbook. So they take and type out their songs in the deaf ministry, and they like putting it out, and then words that don't, blah, 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 they got to have time to work through it. So then I would do the cue cards 3 months at a time. And then when you get an orchestra, if you want anybody in the church, if they play clarinet, flute, trumpet, whatever, then that just advances it. They say the minimum, if you have any other instruments other than a pianist and an organist playing, the minimum that you can do far ahead, the minimum is 3 months. So I started doing 4 and 5 months when we had an orchestra. We had a 6-piece orchestra. People that wanted to play flute and clarinet, then they got to have their practice time and they got to know what's coming. If you got teenagers in the church playing, they need time to practice. So you can't do. In preaching at other churches, I've watched, and I've seen the stress. Stress in music comes from when you don't get to practice. That creates stress. Stress in singing is when you don't get time to practice. Stress for a pianist is when they don't get time to practice and they're really wondering what you're going to pull next when you're so filled with the Holy Spirit. Because you practiced it one way, but boy, you got up there and the Spirit led differently. That's garbage. You're driven by the crowd. I've always heard this. I can be led of the Spirit when I'm preparing. And when I'm planning my sermon, I can be yielded to the Holy Spirit, and I plan out my sermon, and I don't change it when somebody else comes in. I know what I'm preaching I was yielded when I was preparing. I don't have to change it because President Trump decided to come to the service. Amen. I don't have to. I'm not changing it. Well, the same thing is true with song leading. Then you pray before you practice, and then you practice it, and then I'll show you how to do that here in just a second. You then take this songbook. It takes 2.5 hours. That's your job. Organize it. Put it on paper. Then I would give it to a lady. Once I wrote it out, and I wrote out the song numbers, then I gave it to a lady, and they would be kind enough to type it for me. I don't care if you put it in Excel. I don't care if you put it in Microsoft Word. I don't care. I just needed the song list. I would call it Bible Truth Hymns, Congregational Songs. Then I had this whole book organized. If it's a new song that I don't know but I want to lead, and I've never led before, and the church doesn't know it, then I don't outline it in red, I put it in red letters. And that lets me know when I look at my list, that's a new song. You've got to have those marked too. Gentlemen, if the average church at our church, I wanted to sing as much as I could. I wanted our church singing as many songs as possible. Because what is God's method in music? Teaching. Right? Colossians, teaching and admonishing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs. So God's purpose in music is teaching. So I didn't want our church limited to the average 100 songs per church, especially when you got about 600 in your songbook. So I would try to add songs, and I'll show you how to do that here in just a little bit. But that song list right there on page 55, it's very important that you understand how to do that. Most won't do it. I've been to several churches where the pastor got somebody helping him, but they come into the service, and 15 minutes before the service, they're going through, and the people don't see them doing that. And I understand. One of them worked a second job, and I wasn't knocking it. But if you are working with someone, a pianist, no pianist, look, when you're up here, this has a little fudge room. Do you understand? This, it's either right or it's wrong. And did you know most pianists want to do a good job? And most pianists don't have a degree in music, and they don't want to make a dork of themselves. So if you would help your pianist and become a team with them and work with them, I never got up and led a song ever without having a half-hour practice time every week. The most important thing a song director does is spend time with a pianist, half-hour a week, and go through every song. And I'll show you how to do that. But I never got up. You say, well, you know Amazing Grace. I wanted to make sure that he or she knew what I was doing. I wanted to make sure. So every Saturday, if you want a good music program, it's going to cost you.
Yes, sir.
It will cost you time.
Yes, sir.
I was at one church. They asked me to... They said, would you sing and stuff like this? And I said, yeah, if I can practice. And they said, well, here we practice twice a month. I said, that's every other week. I said, okay, I have a lot of singing experience. I said, I'm not doing that. I said, if I'm going to sing, I will practice once a week. I need at least a half-hour practice every week. I said, I'm not good enough that I can get up and practice 2 weeks and then 2 weeks later not sing and then get up there and then make it work. And I said, the other thing, I said, we need mandatory mic checks. No, who in the church is a professional singer? Who in the church is used to the sound shooting back at them through a monitor? The preacher deals with that all the time, but take somebody that's used to hearing him preach, and then they're going to come up and sing a special. This is a whole new world up here.
Yes, sir. Right.
So we would have practices on Saturday. But I watch some people, oh, it'll work out. And then they wonder how come the music program is, it works, but it's not near as good. I watched one quartet, men's quartet, get up. One guy, they had no business up there. One guy did not know his part. It's shaking with his mic. He knew he didn't know his part. He was a piano player. He knew. He didn't have time. He was thrown into it. And somebody said, well, your music standards are too high. I said, no. Treat the common man in the pew like he doesn't know anything and help him be a success up here.
Yes, sir. Good.
Help your pianist be a success. Lead them. And you can only do that if you're organized.
Yes, sir. Right.
You have to know the book. That little step that I just told you about is 2.5 hours. If you were in my song leading class, your first assignment would be take that songbook, and next week you would turn in that songbook organized in the songs that you know, highlighted just like you know. And then hopefully when you hit the ministry, you would have done that at least one time, and you wouldn't freak out when you saw a hymn book. What am I supposed to do? Organize it. Sit down and plan it out. Then work your cards with it. Now, let's stop this right here, and I want you to take that songbook, and let's learn the song leader's bread and butter. Are you ready? Stand up. Nothing in your hands. Take everything out of your hands. You're going to probably want to put a little distance okay? Just enough so you're not going to be doing this, but you do want elbows, okay? You ready? Here we go. This is called the song director's bread and butter. There is nothing more basic than what I'm getting ready to show you, okay? So, ready? Do as I do. Ready? With just your right arm. Ready? Raise it up, okay? And go 1. Okay? Now you're going to go into the inside of your body. You're not going to go the direction I'm going. You're going to go towards the inside to where your tie is. Ready? Now go 2. Now you're going to go to the outside of your body. 3. Now you're going to go back up where you started. 4. And it goes like this. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is called the song director's bread and butter. Switch arms. Take your left arm. We're going to do the same thing. And remember, you go, don't do anything. You go down and in, out and up. And if you need to think of a clover leaf, think of a clover leaf. I think more of a table. I have a table right here, and I'm going to hit my hand on that table. Ready? So here we go. Ready? 1, 2, going inward, 3, outward, and 4, up. Ready? Do it one more time. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Do it one more time. Ready? Here we go. My arm's getting tired. Okay. Ready? Go down, in, 2, out, 3, 4. Okay? So, put your arm down. Okay? Now, I have to learn how to do that in time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then if I get that with my right hand, that's my dominant hand. Then I do it with my left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gentlemen, there's only one alternative to this. You become a meat chopper. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Took my teenagers to a youth conference one time, and the guy, he did his best, and I love him to death, and I've known him for years. But when he led songs, he always looked like he was getting ready to fly away. And I couldn't get the teenagers to stop laughing when he led songs. Now I was like, no, you know, look at him, you bumblebee. All I'm saying is you want to look normal. Remember what I told you. When I'm this way, my song directing is from my elbow to the hand, like this. Okay? It's from the elbow to the hand. When I turn this way, my song directing is from the shoulder to the hand. That's a congregational song leader. It's not this. That's why I said raise your hand and do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, can we do that in time? Ready? We're going to do it right-handed, then we're going to do it left-handed, then we're going to combine both hands. Ready? For right now, remember, it's down, in, out, up. Okay, ready? Song director's bread and butter. Here we go. Ready? Hand up. Remember, this is my pivot point. Okay, this is my pivot point, not this. Okay, so ready? From the shoulder. Ready? I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Down, in, out, up. Down, in, out, up. Down, in, out, up. Let me just take some time and help just for a second. Remember that table. Think of a table. I'm not doing this. I want to hit the table. 1. I want to come across the table. 2. I want to come across that same table right here. Everybody do this. Okay? Okay? When I'm directing songs for the congregation, my table is right below my pecs. It's right here. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. When I direct a choir, my table lowers to right around where my belly button is. And now, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's what they're needing, the precision. But when I'm a congregational song leader, my table that I'm hitting my hands on is right here. So everybody, do this. Now, stretch it out and just keep it level. Okay, do you feel your table? Do you feel your table? That's good. That's good. Feel your table. You don't want your hand going below that table. Okay? So, can we do that with one hand? You see where your table is? Okay? Take your right hand, okay? Put your left hand down. Ready? And hit the table and stay level with the table. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Very good. 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. See your table? Do it with the left hand. Ready? Have you got your table? Do you see the table? Okay, you got it? Ready? Here we go. Left hand. This is the bread and butter of the song. This is basics of everything. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. Can we do both hands? Now, watch me, because my hands are going to cross. Both hands go down, then they go in, then they go out, then they go up. Okay? So, they are going to cross. It's not, they're going to come down and they're going to cross, okay? And then they're going to go up. So, here we go. Basics, bread and butter. Ready? Do you see your table? Where's your table? Show me your table. It's right below your pecs. It's right here, right? My hands don't go below that table. Okay, ready? Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Put your hands down. Did you hear Pastor Nettesheim say he stood in front of a mirror? It's probably one of the most important things a song director does. Dr. Evans taught me. Because if you don't inspire yourself to sing, you don't inspire anybody else. So look at yourself while you're leading the song. Take a little platform or a desk or a table, put the book there, stand in front of the mirror, and look at your face when you're leading the song. And if you are deadpanned and so good to be here this morning, take your song books and turn to number 322. All right, sing with joy in your heart to the Lord and sing. Smile. You have to, okay? And you say, well, you're just an extrovert, Brother Nash. You don't know me. During high school, I came home. I didn't go to no school functions. I played my guitar up in my room, and my favorite person to spend time with was Wah. You understand? And when I got saved and I started to learn to be a soul winner, everything I do for other people, I learned. Eye contact. Okay? How does this look? Think of leadership. It's good to have you all this morning. Let's all take our song books and turn to number 500. 500 in your song book. All right. And let's all sing together. If I never look at you, you have to look at them. Welcome to Gospelite Baptist Church. Welcome to Grace Baptist Temple. Let's all take our song books. Let's all stand and sing. Get you a good lung full of air and let's sing out this morning. I'd practice that. That's not my talking voice. That's my song leading voice. That's what my pastor taught me they needed to hear. That was the first thing coming from the speakers to the people. So lead them. Lead them. Tell them what they need to do. Tell them what you're going to do. And tell them you want to do it together. Let's all sing together. Right? And make eye contact with them. Look at them. Don't You don't hand out tracts that way. Right? That's leadership.
Right.
That's leadership. So here we go. Now, the mirror idea, everybody, you are as good as you study yourself. That's why the mirror, there was never a song director I taught. I had a full-length body mirror. I said, stand in front of the mirror. And then after he got the song, I would always say, do you like what you see? Well, I said, then make it that way.
Amen. Yeah.
Smile. Make yourself what you like to see. Then do it right. So, you can do that later on your own with a songbook. For right now, I'm watching you. Okay? Are you ready? Here we go. Can we do, where's your table? Remember, it's right below your pecs. If I'm directing congregationally, my table is higher than when I'm directing a choir. Okay? So everybody got your table? Do you got it pictured? My hands don't go below my table. Ready? Here we go. I'm going to do both hands. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down, in, out, up. Down, in, out, up. Down, in, out, up. Stop. What's the most important beat? 1. If you have an orchestra, if you have only a pianist, if you have a pianist and an organist, what is the one beat that they are looking for? The downbeat. The start of the measure. That is what they're needing from you. That's why we wave our arms. We're trying to lead them. Because they're playing and they're, especially if they didn't practice with you, they're, okay, what's he going to do next? But they're looking for that downbeat. So that's why out of all my beats, out of 1, 2, 3, 4, this one, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. That's the most, that is what they have to have you do. So, okay. Okay. Did you know song directors that have been song directors for a long time, if they aren't taught to keep their shoulders lubricated, do you know what they end up having someday? Rotator cuff surgery. Let me teach you how to loosen up your shoulder. Ready? Here we go. To get them juices flowing, all you do is you hang the L, and they call it stirring the pot, just like this. You don't put any stress on it. You just let it, you just stir the pot one way, and then you go the other way. Okay? And that gets all those lubrications in between the ligaments and the bones. It gets them flowing. Then you take the other arm, and you stir the pot. And you just let it hang, and you go in one direction, and you swing it. Don't use any muscles. You want to swing it. Then you go the other way. Okay? Now let me show you one more way of lubricating your shoulder. Are you ready? This is pretty simple. Take your arms and go back with your foot. Put this part of your arm parallel to the ground and go back as far as you can. Now go back as far as you can. And you do this. Feel it? And that lubricates your shoulder. Okay? That lubricates your shoulder. There wasn't a time that I did not direct songs where I didn't stretch out before I led songs. One time I split my britches. It was awful. If you haven't heard that story, it's ridiculous. But I would do this, and I always got the fan going. I would always work out my shoulder. Man, then I'd get down there and one day, oh man, it was 2 minutes before the service. Pastor Owens didn't wait on nobody. And I remember I thought I had this stupid, brilliant idea of getting a stapler. And I thought I would, so I go up there, drop my britches, and I'm doing this in the crotch, like this. That baby split from front all the way up the back. Put the stapler down. I'm getting ready to go out. Then I go out there, and I'm leading the choir, and the stinking staples gave way. And it was a black suit with white skivvies. It was a high contrast moment. And everybody, all 600 people saw it, just like this. All the staff guys were laughing. And then I turned around, welcome to Shenandoah Bible Baptist Church. And the choir started laughing. I felt this high. I wanted to go home. You understand? Nothing like people seeing your skivvies. Okay, but anyways, all I'm telling you is stretch out before you lead the song. Okay? Stretch out before you lead the song. Move your shoulder. And if you're, yes, sir.
How long do you need to loosen up and stretch out? How long does it take?
It took me about 5 minutes before every service. And I would do it in my office. And I always went through it. Because I heard people talk, and now I've had rotator cuff surgery. It was because I was in a motorcycle accident. It wasn't because of song leading. But trust me, there is no pain like rotator cuff. The only thing that comes close is a kidney stone, okay? And one of the two, it'll change your life. It will. The pain pills are great, but they fail miserably, okay? All right, so how many have had a kidney stone? Amen? Amen? Okay, yeah, it will. It'll change your life. Changed my life so much I didn't even know who I was. Okay, here we go. Ready? So, here we go. Ready? You got your table. You got to picture your table, and my hands don't go below my table. Okay, ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, good. Put your arms down. That is the song director's bread and butter. Okay? Most songs in the hymn book are common time. 4, 4, or an equivalent. Okay? As far as, let me see, 12, 8, or something like that, where the top number is divisible by 4. Okay? Now let's go over. There's only 2 song leading patterns you have to have. One is the clover, if that's how you like to think about it. The other one is for 3/4 time. This is called compound. Common and compound. Ready? The table stays the same, but this time I'm going to go down, out, up, and I'm thinking of a triangle. Okay? I'm going to, just watch, I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm thinking of a triangle. And this left arm, it'll go down, out, and up. Okay? So, right hand, ready? Let's just do right hand. Here we go. Got your table pictured? Got your table? Your hand doesn't go below your table. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good. Lower that arm. Left arm. Ready? Here we go. Got your table? Got your table pictured? My hand doesn't go below my table. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Down, out, up. Down, out, up. Down, out, up. Okay, good. You ready to do it with both hands? Okay. What is this? This is called compound timing, 3/4. It is more difficult than the bread and butter of the song leader, 4/4. Ready? Here we go. So we're going to go, here we go. Ready? Down, out, up. Down, out, up. Down, out, up. Down, out, up. Good. Anybody got any questions? Okay, now get out your song. What's your question?
Nothing.
Are you sure?
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you bend your elbows at all in that, or
I want, what Dr. Evans would teach is, if I don't move my elbows, it's almost eye-drawing mechanicalness that needs to be more fluid. So he would say, like, if I don't move my elbows, it would look like this. And you don't want to be distracting. So my elbows move, but he just said, if you aren't careful, our laziness will kick in and we'll start leading the song from our elbows instead of our shoulders. A congregational song leader directs the songs from his shoulders This is the pivot point. So my elbows do move. And if I do it in slow motion, they are moving. Okay? I'm just working at keeping this. I'm keeping this out. See, gentlemen, let me tell you all something Dr. Evans taught me. He said, most of us as men, what do you do if you've ever been gut punched? By the same person, you want to cover up. This part of your body has no bones. This does, ribs do. But it's our insecurity makes us do this. Right? So it takes a confident person or a practiced person to do this. I'm now exposed. My viscera is all vulnerable, okay? That's why you have to practice this. Because if you don't, and you just do it on the fly, you'll do it this way. And you'll think you're doing a good job. But because we're all insecure, you have to learn to. Let's all take our songbooks and let's all stand this morning and let's all stand and sing. Sing with me, number 322 in your songbook. You see what I'm doing? So I'm learning this. Insecurity says, don't kick me. Right? And he said, all of us are that way to a certain extent. So you train yourself to do this. To do this. Okay? Good question. Good question. Moving the elbows. Okay? Do I move my elbows? Yes, I do. But I'm focusing on, and I'll work with you here in just a little bit, on your song leading, and I'll help you, but I'm going to say, watch the shoulder. Keep the movement in the shoulder. This is the pivot. But yes, are my elbows moving? Yes, they are. I'm just working at keeping my arms high. Okay? Why are we moving our arms? They're looking at the songbook, right? There's a few songs they have memorized, but most they don't. Who's needing your arm movement? They are. They need your arm movement. Help them. It is for them. That is why your practice with them on a set day helps them. And it helps you know what they need. Okay? What was your song? You had a question? Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm really sure. Would you like, do you think it's all right if we have to make a little bit of room while we do practice, like, with our hands or something like that?
Okay.
Do the bread and butter.
Are you talking in front of a mirror? Are you talking now? Are you talking, are you saying when you practice to have a little bit of room for your hand movement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, have enough space or something like that, just by not hitting anybody or something like that.
You're right. If you're hitting him, then move on down, okay? But let me teach you something about your hands. This is what Dr. Evans said, okay? It is feminine, okay, to clasp your hands, okay, below your waist, okay? So he said, yeah! Now, wait a second. In the Marine Corps, a parade rest is always this way. Okay? Parade rest. Or, if it is in the front, it's never clasped hands. This is feminine. It's always like this. Okay? Whether it's left over right or right over left, right? But he said, be very careful if you're up there as a man song leader, and praise God there's no women song leaders in our church, okay, unless you're Tom Malone, and then his wife led the choir, and that was a feat to see, but anyways. My hand movement is never like, when I was taught from Mrs. Colston, she was always, oh, you do that? I don't. That is choir stuff. They're looking for me to do with my hands cues, closes, okay? They're not needing that. I'm either going to do, when I'm congregationally song leading, I'm going to keep my hands open, okay? Somewhere like this, but never this. That's, in other words, I don't want to give, as a man song leader, a feminine picture, because me and my preacher are a team. You understand? So they're needing my hand signals They aren't. They're needing my Spirit. So he said, Brother Dr. Evans would always say, leave your hands open or close them. But don't do this. Do you understand? So I worked at keeping this. Then I heard one song director say, if you take your hand and like you're dribbling a ball and you put a little bit of a curve to it, then just keep it that way. Whatever you're comfortable with. But somewhere, okay? Does that answer your question? On what you do with your hands, does that help you?
Yeah.
As far as giving yourself room, I don't want to do anything feminine as a man in front of the crowd.
Keep your hands open, not closed.
Keep your hands open, or if you want to, like sometimes I'll hit the pulpit, or I'll close. And why would I do that? For their sake. This is heard, right? Dr. Evans would beat the pulpit and he would teach. He would say, your job as a song leader is to get them and them together. And if you're doing one thing and they're not with you yet, then a beating of the pulpit.
Up from the grave he rose with a mighty triumph for his foes.
Okay? So it's a tool. It's a tool. Okay? Good question. Anybody else? Any other questions while we're going before we go to a song? Okay? Ready? Let's do our bread and butter one more time because you can't do that too much. Got your table pictured? Got your table pictured? Okay? It's right about here, right? My hands don't go below my table. My hands don't go below my table. Okay? Ready? So, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you smile? 2, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Good. Can we do the compound one more time? Ready? Both hands. Remember, if I'm compound 3, 4, I'm thinking triangle, right? Down, out, up. Down, out, up. Ready? Got your table pictured? Here we go. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. Down, out, up. Down, out, up. Down, out, up. Down, out, up. Good. Good. Now take your songbook and let's go to 601. And you can have a seat. You can have a seat. Most of the song directors that come to my church on an individual basis and say, would you teach me one-on-one? Dr. Evans gave me 3 one-hour lessons. The first place was in his office, and in the back of his office was a mirror behind his desk. And in front of a mirror was my first place. That was the first hour of instruction where we learned the bread and butter. Watch your hands. Don't do anything feminine with your hands. Whereas if you've got, and it helps, like if this is the first time you're doing music, it helps the more, and that's why, okay, when you're looking at 601 and you're looking at leaning on the everlasting arms, okay, 4/4 timing. What's the hardest part of music to learn? Rhythm. Ask a pianist, ask any person that plays. Ask a singer. The hardest part of music is rhythm. Okay? Period. End of story. Okay? So, here's lesson basics. If you already know this, you ought to thank the Lord. But the top number means what? 4/4. The top number means what? How many beats per measure? That's as high as I can count. Right? Okay? In that song, 4/4, 4 is as high as I can count. That's why I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. If I'm counting eighth notes, then I need to put a a mark in between it. So I'm going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And if I have to count 16th notes, I got to put 4 beats with every beat. So I'm going to go E and A after the number. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E. And most of us don't sing past 16th notes. Praise the Lord. Okay? But and then the lower number, so the top number means how many beats per measure. The bottom number means what? What note gets 1 beat? A quarter note, or a quarter of a measure, a quarter of a whole note, a fourth beat, a quarter note gets 1 beat. Okay? That's important because in just a little bit we're going to look at some different songs, but this is basic. This is basic. This is a basic song. So, that means every quarter note gets 1 beat, an eighth note gets 2 beats. 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. That's why I said, the more you learn about rhythm and music, the more comfortable you are when you look at the songbook. Right? You're not going to go, what pattern am I going to use? What are we singing here? What a fellowship. Let me see here. What a fellowship. What a joy. And the pianist is going nuts. Because you're doing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, and it's not that way. See, those that are laughing right now know a little bit about the music. However, that's why I said the more you learn music, nobody knows too much. And if you were in my congregational song leading class in a semester in college, I would have one whole class period where we would cover this in PowerPoint. Then I'd give it to you to take home. Because the piano players know it, but most people don't. And that poor man that's trying to help his preacher needs as much confidence as he can to lead the songs and to do a good job with what he's doing. So the more you can learn about music, and there's a lot of good help. I think, okay, there's junk on the internet, but if you look up basic music videos on the internet, there's a lot of good stuff if you haven't seen it, okay? Stuff that helps you just think through it. I want to be comfortable when I look at that songbook. I don't want to freak out. Now, we're looking at leaning on the everlasting arm. So, this is the way I would do it. First of all, I as the song leader have to know the words to the song. You can't get up and after you've led the first song, oh, how sweet is leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, yeah. Oh, how bright rose. And if you have to know the words. That's why, gentlemen, let's review just for a second. If you organized the songbook and you've got it on your computer or your tablet, and then you made out the cue card, you know what's coming Sunday. And then you live those songs. And you sing them in your car. And I had a songbook at my house, and I had a songbook up here. I think it's a wonderful idea. Pastor's songbook is labeled. My songbook was a different color than everybody else's in case one of the little munchkins in the church decided to play hide and seek with it. I could go find it. But my songbook is marked. Okay? Now, I'm looking at this song. First of all, it helps if you know the words. So I sing through it when I'm practicing it with my pianist. Okay? Second of all, I'm going to look at it and I'm going to figure out, now as a song leader, I want to own the song. Because I don't need to know how they heard it last week on the internet or how they're used to doing it in their church. I'm going to lead the song, so I need to own it. I need to know what I'm doing. So I would practice. If this is the first song of the service, good number 1 song. Some number 1 songs, you can do number 2 songs if you'll pick up the pace. If you'll pick up the pace. All right. But here, I'm thinking, all right, first song. That means I need to do my intro, and I need to get my song down. So I would practice it. Welcome to Grace Baptist Temple. on a Sunday morning. Let's all take our songbooks and let's stand and sing number 601. 601 in your songbook, 601. Introduction to a song. Thank you. Go ahead. You can stand up. When you introduce a song, you want to say the number 3 times. You say it, you spell it, and you say it. Just like this. Listen to me. Take your songbooks. Let's all turn to number 601. Leaning on the everlasting arms. And I'm going to spell it. 601. 601 in your songbooks. I said it 3 times. Okay? I said it 3 times. Every introduction gets 3 song numbers. Said, spelt, and said. And I practice it that way. And I need to say the title at least 1 time. At least 1 time, so that they can, is this the right song? Because they're still thinking, wow, there's that light bulb's different than that light bulb. And, and wow, these colors are really nice in here. And their head's not there. That's your job. You're getting them ready for the preacher, okay? So, I'm going to go over my song introduction. Welcome to Grace Baptist Temple on a Sunday morning. Let's all take our songbooks. Let's all stand and sing number 601. 601, leaning on the everlasting arms. 601. Sing with me. What a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting arms. What a blessedness, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning on the everlasting arms. And the more common the song is, and the more confident you are, the more you can move away from the pulpit. This is spirit. This is precision. Very exact. This is spirit. Do you understand? It's leadership. That's what they're looking for. Okay? So, in looking at this song, and I'm trying to watch the time, here we go. You can have a seat. You can have a seat. So, let's do a real quick review. As a song director, every song introduction, when I introduce it, how many times am I going to say the song number? 3 times. And what's the rule? Saying, spell it, and say it. I have to do that. For their sake, now I have to work at one more thing before I'm ready for the song. I need to work at it with my pianist. Can we come on up here? Normally, if it's the first song, they're going from prelude into the first song. So now I'm going to work with my pianist and 601. And normally they're going to start playing it right after I do the greeting. So I'm going to go, good morning and welcome to Grace Baptist Temple on a Sunday morning. Let's all take our songbooks and let's all stay seated. Let's all stand and sing number 601. And then he would start the intro. 601 in your songbook. What? Did I say it 3 times? No. So I have to work with my pianist so that that intro is long enough so that I can say, and too long is better than too short. Because if you dive into the song before they're ready and they're still turning, oh crud. They do, they quit. They're sheep. Amen. And they'll go back to, what was that game I was playing? I'm not kidding you. So it's your job as the song leader, give them time. And I can do that if he knows. So what I do with their songbook is this. It's Saturday, and he and I are working through each congregational. I'm going to announce that song just like I would on Sunday morning, and then he's going to take a pencil and he's going to put an X where the intro begins. So next time we come to that song, he'll know how far to back up into the song, and we don't have to recreate the wheel. Does that make sense? So in X, and I'll teach the pianist that too, as far as, if they're not marking their songbook, I'll say, let's mark our songbook. They mark theirs, and I mark mine. Okay? That way I'm not asking them to do something that I'm not doing. Okay? So I'm going to say, now let's go over this again, and he's going to start right after I end right normally when I say the page number, or right around then when I'm done with the intro. Welcome to Grace Baptist Temple on a Sunday morning. Let's all stand and take our songbooks and sing number 601, Leaning on the Everlasting Arms. 601 in your songbook. 601. And that was perfect. So he'd mark his songbook, and then when we start singing it, you ready? Here we go. What a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting. Now wait a second. That's why they have to know how fast are you going to do the song. Because they've played it this way, they practiced it this way, and he wants to do a good job. But if you embarrass him, then figure out when you're practicing, how fast are you going to do it? And normally, do you know what 120 means? 120 is standard timing. 60 is one beat every second. 60 beats in a minute. 120 is 2 beats every second. So, if a normal clock would go 1, 2, 3, 4, then 120 times standard time is 120 for most musicians, unless you... But I don't know what he knows. And watch this. He takes more time learning his part, and it's taken more skill on his part to play than it takes my part to sing and lead. So I respect that. Does that make sense? He is more skilled than I am. It would help if everybody understood that. That means I want to treat him with respect. I want to communicate with him. And the last thing I want to do is embarrass him. And some of you wing it so much, you're going to get up in front of the church, and you're going to, and the pianist, and for some of you, it'll be your wife. And who wants to make their husband happy? The wife does. And then you get up there and you don't practice with her, and then she gets frustrated, and she really wishes she could do a better job. You know how I know? Because I talk with pianists all across, and boy, when I go to a church and boy, Brother Nash is going to lead songs, the pianist goes, Brother Nash is going to lead songs. I'm common Joe. But I know they're scared to death. And I want people relaxed. Amen? And I want him to enjoy serving the Lord. We're a team, right? So I want to make sure that we're working together. On your practice time on Saturday, you go through the intro to the song. Does he have his book marked? Do I have my book marked? Do we know what we're doing? And does he know how fast I want to do it? Oops. Does he know how fast I want to go? And I'll normally say, I want it about this. What a fellowship, what a joy divine lead. And if he's not up to that speed, he'll tell me. I can play it this fast, but I can't play it, and talk to him. Well, why don't you practice some more so you can play? Don't do that, meathead. Somebody needs to poke you in the eyeball. You find out, watch this. The day you don't have a pianist is the day you'll treat them with respect. And they're not expendable. You find out what his limitations are. What is he comfortable doing? And if he can't do it as fast as you want at that time, maybe next time the song comes around, he'll learn what you want to do, and he'll try to do it. Maybe he won't get up there. It's okay. It beats not having one. And by the way, if you don't have one, you can go to Faith Music Missions, and David Chamberlain they have CDs of congregational hymns where it's played through 3 times, and if you'll practice with the CD and that, then you can do that. I think it's like $15 a CD. The whole set will cost you $60. Talk to the missionaries that go to the field that don't have a pianist. That's what they use. Talk to the church planters that don't have a pianist. That's what they use. That's what I teach when I don't have the luxury of having a pianist. So, here we go. I'm working through on Saturday. I have to, this is the most important time. My time with that pianist. Do they know what is expected, how long the intro is, how fast I want, and then I don't pull any shenanigans on Sunday with them. Ever. I want them to enjoy serving the Lord. They know just what I'm going to do. It normally takes a half hour to work through 3 songs Sunday morning, 3 songs Sunday night, and 3 songs Wednesday night. And then if you're doing anything for Sunday school, work through it with them. Oh, I've sung that before. They'll figure it out. Don't do that. Don't do that. Do it as best as you can. So here we go. Let's go through the, he'll start after I'm done with I'm going to practice my introduction. Welcome to welcome to Grace Baptist Temple on a Sunday morning. Let's all take our songbooks. Let's all stand and sing number 601. Leaning on the everlasting arm. 601 in your songbook. What a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting arm. What a blessedness, what a... Okay, good. That's one song. Okay, that's one song. If you want a good music program, it will cost you time. And what's sad is one day when you're a pastor and you want good music, but you don't want to take time to practice it. And then you can never really get it together. I just can't figure out how come our music program. It takes time. And I always looked at the music ministry as this is my opportunity to work with people. That pianist, we're a team, and it is my job to help them. If you're the song leader, I want them to enjoy serving the Lord. Now I would go to a next song. Listen, now I'm just going to pick one. I'm going to look for a 3. What was that 3-4 one that we did? Was that at the start? Was that 17? Go to number 17. Thou art worthy, okay? Number 17. There's a 3-4 song. So I'm looking at it. No pickup measures. I'll go over that with you here in just a second. Looks like it's straight down. The first measure has 3 beats in it. A half note gets 2 beats. Thou art worthy. Okay, good. So I can just start the song right on a downbeat. That's good. Okay, now I need to first work out how fast am I going to do this song. This is if this is second song, this wouldn't be a good number 2 song. This would be a good more of a number 3 song. Okay, right before the preaching. But I still don't ever want it to drag. And that's why when you're up here, a special group, what is our tendency? To slow the song down. That's our tendency. So if I practice it a little quicker, then I have room for it to slow down a little bit. But I got to think through it now. As a song leader, I have to go, Thou art worthy, thou art worthy, thou art... That's about the pace I want to do it, even if it is right before the preaching. Okay? Da, 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 da. There's my tempo. Okay? Just like that. Then I need to be able to relay that to him. Okay? Now I'm going to go through. Now I need to practice my introduction. Preacher just got done with the announcements. I don't know where it is in the cue card here, but he's just got done. I'm getting ready. My songbook's open. I come up. Now let's all take our songbooks and let's all stand and sing number 17 in your songbook. 1-7. Thou art worthy. Number 17 in your songbook. Thou art worthy, thou art worthy, thou art worthy, O Lord. Okay, good, stop. I slowed it down a little bit, didn't I? That's the tendency. That's what practice will get you on Saturday before you hit the pulpit. And I'll say it one more time. I led songs there was never in any church I've ever been in, and that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. I never led a song without practicing it. Even if you know it, come on, Amazing Grace. Maybe I don't need the practice. Maybe the pianist does. Maybe they're scared. Help them. Your time, I'll say it one more time, your practice time on Saturday, pick a time. Maybe it's before you go out soul winning. Maybe it's when everybody gets back from soul winning. Maybe Saturday isn't good. Maybe Wednesday night after church is good. Maybe Sunday, I don't, but you have to have a practice time. And I am amazed at how many don't. And I mean don't. But if you were my student, I would tell you there is no more better time you will spend than with your pianist practicing those songs. Ever. Always. It is the law of the Medes and Persians. I have to do that. Now let's look at one more song. Let's look at, okay. Do you know Faith is the Victory? Okay, good. 570. Let's go to 570. Now let's learn about pickups. Okay, let's learn about pickups. I know pickups. I got me an S10 and got me a Silverado and GMC and Dodge, and man, I got that, got that double turbo. My dad just bought a new Ford 2.7 liter. It's twin turbocharged. And he said, son, it's 2.7 liter and it's got 360 horsepower, V6. I was like, Dad, he's fired up about it. Okay, all right, here we go. Enough about pickups. All right. Okay, now back to the thing here. What is a pickup measure? First of all, what timing are we in? 6/8. Oh no, I didn't learn that in congregational song leading. The top number is divisible by 3. So I'm going to count to 6 in each measure. The bottom note is a what? What's the bottom number? 8. It's an 8. So that means every 8th note gets 1 beat. So each measure is counted just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, remember, 6, 8. 6 is the highest that I can count. It's divisible by 3, so I'm just going to go 2 triangles instead of 1. Okay? I'm going to go 2 triangles instead of 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, sir.
I'm just missing the difference between that and the 3, 4. Because it seems like you're doing the same thing, just counting to a higher number.
I said there's 2, correct. There's 2 basic patterns that you need. One where the top number is divisible by 4. That will be your clover leaf, counting to 4. Okay? Or where the top number is divisible by 3, and the simplest is a 3, 4, and that's a triangle, right?
So what changes from a 3, 4 to a 6, 8?
I'm doing 2 triangles instead of 1, but it is the exact same arm movement. But I have to be able to count my way through the song. Good question. Okay, so now I'm no longer in 3, 4, counting to 3, top numbers as high as I can count. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm now in 6, 8, so now I'm counting to 6. So now I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And once again, the most important beat is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. The 1 and the 4 is what they're needing. The downbeat. Okay? Okay? Good question. Same pattern. If I can keep it simple, there are other conducting ways if I was doing a choir, and it gets much more complex, but for a congregational song leader that is trying to keep the piano and the organ together, that's my job. All I need is 2 patterns. Either the clover leaf, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, or I need a number that's divisible by 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sometimes you'll see a 9/8 song in the book. Top numbers divisible by 3, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It goes a little faster than that, and I'll show you a way of dealing with that here in just a minute. But does that answer your question? Same pattern. I only need 2 patterns. Yes. The higher the lower number, 4. Now this is an 8. Sometimes it'll go up to a 8th is about it, but you're right, an 8th says pick it up. You're now counting 8th notes, so speed up the song. Okay? Good question, yes.
So 2/8 notes is a quarter note, and so couldn't we, instead of doing 6/8, use it as a 3/4 and do the quarter notes?
I can.
Because I know what Faith is the Victory is a quicker hymnal. Usually,
I'll find that out when now, do you know a little bit about music? Okay. Okay, I could tell. Okay. You're comfortable with it, so you could adjust some things. And I'll show you how to adjust it here in just a second. But you're right. If I want to, the song goes, "Encamped along the hills and light, da 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 da." I could slow my hand down to where I'm only doing 3 beats a measure. You're right. And give each swing of my arm 2 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're right, I can do that. But I'm going to figure that out when I'm working with him on the introduction of the song. There are some 6/8 songs and 9/8 songs. If you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You want to slow it down so you don't look like an oddball. Okay?
at that moment, would you practice for 10 minutes, and would you stretch out 10 minutes?
Yeah, Baptist calisthenics. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay, never mind. Okay, all right. So, but yes, I'm going to figure out what pattern I'm going to use, but because this is my first time with you, I'm going to teach you 2 patterns. Cloverleaf, bread and butter, and 3/4. Now, I'll teach you how to modify it, okay? And then there are times, there's one time, and hopefully we'll have time for it, where I'll show you where you want to just do this. And that's those real fast songs where I'm just emphasizing the downbeat. Okay? But those are always in compound music. Okay? What?
So I understand, I'm kind of going by the tempo that we picked out here, but I get to the last measure on the bottom of page 570, and it's only 5 beats by the count.
But the song goes to 571.
I understand that, but that's a whole separate measure, isn't it? Because then if it's not, then it goes over to it's like 11 beats or something.
The top of the song, very good. I did not, remember when we were talking about pickups? Okay. You have an eighth beat in the first measure, right? Right? In Faith is the Victory. You got an 8th note first beat.
Right.
So that is the last count of a 6/8 measure. So follow me here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That means I can't start this song this way. I have to start that song on beat 6 so that I can come down again. And camped along the hills of light, ye Christian soldiers rise. That's called a pickup measure. It's not complete. It does not have a full 6 beats. So a pickup measure tells me as a song leader, if I start this song, and camped along the hill, he's going to have a cow because that's not the downbeat. I need to start this song. The pickup measure tells me to pick it up at beat 6. And camped along the hills of light, ye Christian soul. There's my triangle, okay? And I would, if you're new to this, then another thing I would do in my class with you. Yeah. Color 1, 2. Okay. I would Xerox that song, and then I would teach you to count it. And I would have you put a 6 over the first measure. And then I would count out the first measure with you.
Well, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm saying. I'm getting confused because I get all
Okay.
the way down to the bottom, and it's if it's in that 6/8 time, then that second to last note down on the bottom, last measure, right, page 570. That would be 3 beats, then 2 beats. So is that number 6 is up here? Because I know that it goes on. And I go over here, that's a rest with an extra dot, so that's 3 beats. And then that makes sense to me because that's 6 beats. Again, that's that last measure. That's like, what do I do there? Because
Okay.
do this number where it's this.
If I'm working, good. If I'm going to work through this song, sometimes I can have a pause. That is part of faith. Faith is the victory we know. I would pause it there. And I would put a bird's eye right there. You know what a bird's eye is? That's a dot with an arc over it. That tells you what? Pause. Right?
Faith is the victory we know that overcomes the world.
Faith. Faith. I'm going to come in on the chorus at the top of 571. I ate it. I know right here I have to come down. So I eat this down here. Beat 6. I wouldn't do the song that way. I wouldn't put it in the thing that way. You're right. But I'm going to eat it. Okay?
Faith is the victory we know
That what?
that overcomes the world. Faith is the victory. Faith is the victory.
Does that answer your question? I'm not as concerned at the end of the measure when I study a song as I am my downbeat at the start of the measure. Okay? Does that help you a little bit? Okay? I wouldn't have done it that way, and I would put it in there if I was counting out that song.
That overcomes the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Faith is the victory.
I'd eat it. And I couldn't, that would not throw me as much as I know when I start that chorus, I've got to come down.
Faith is the victory. Faith is the victory.
Does that help you a little bit? Okay? Okay? Good questions. I don't mind working them through them. I hope I'm not giving you a headache. Okay? But, gentlemen, when you work through a song, the first time you're song leading, I tell my song leading students, pay attention to what I just told him. Am I coming down as I practice the song at the start of every measure? Is my downbeat right? Because that's what they need. The rest of it, faith is the victory. Faith is the victory. Oh, glorious victory that overcomes. I got to get that downbeat at the start of the measure right. And I'm not saying you can, faith is the victory, faith is the victory, oh, glorious victory that overcomes the world. You know, and you can do your phone and everything else in between, the measures. I am telling you as a beginning song leader, when it's overwhelming to you, look at the song and make sure your downbeat is coming down when you practice it at the start of the measure. At the start of the measure. Good questions. Anybody else? Anybody else? Let's work through the intro of this song, okay? I'm going to work through it with my pianist, okay? I'm going to practice the intro, and then I'm going to see if it's long enough, okay? What's your question, buddy? Second measure, second verse, or the second measure? Okay. There is. Okay, good. Watch this. Watch this. A quarter note is worth how many eighth notes? A quarter note is worth 2 eighth notes. So my first camped is going to be 1, 2. Is 3. Long is 4/5, and the is beat 6. Does that help you? You have quarter notes and eighth notes. A quarter note, let me see if I can help him here just for a second. Do you see the quarter notes and the eighth notes? An eighth note has a flag on it. Okay? Okay. This is good. I have to, as a song leader, be able to count the music. If I can't, because that's beyond me, and that's fine, then I just look at my music and I go, and camped along the hills of light, ye Christian. You looking at me? I'm coming down at the start of the measure. And then I'll try to practice it. Okay, he said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And camped along the hills of light, ye Christian soldiers rise. Dun, 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 dun. You see what I mean? So I'm checking myself as I lead the song. But that downbeat I have to get. I have to get it. Otherwise, if I can't, okay, you ready? Then I need to tell them, if the pastor wants this song, then I need them very badly to help me lead it. Nothing wrong with that. I've had pianists, when I started leading a choir, I was in so far over my head. I was like an oiled duck, okay? I mean, it was just quack. She covered for me and helped me, and she could have made me look like an idiot. And she didn't. She was very gracious to me, and I was very thankful for that. If I can't lead the song, then I need to communicate, and I need to say, tell your pianist and say, okay, if this is something he's used to, and let's say preacher wants it, and I'm a new song leader, then I say, can you help me out? Because they normally know. If they can play it, they know what they're doing. Okay, can you help me with this? Dun, dun, and they'll help you. Okay? That's why right now it's good for you to learn as much music as you can. Okay? And you're at a good age that you can do that. Okay? You are by no means past hope. Okay? Nobody in here is, but okay. Good question. I don't mind working through that. Anybody else? Before we do the intro of this, gentlemen, when I watched a choir director count out every note, the precision that was done up here, I'd never seen that type of precision. It just let me know, well, maybe there is a lot more to this. Maybe people don't make it as big as it really is. You don't know too much music. If anything, you know too little. And you need to, okay, and watch this. With me going over this as a song leader, when Brother Mike's up there on Sunday or Wednesday night, you're not criticizing him. Watch him. And then picture yourself up there doing it. And then you're not there to criticize him. Hey, you know you got that note. Don't do that. Somebody needs to slap you if you do. But I tell you what, it changes how you sing the song if you'll look at the song leader different. Yes, sir. And picture yourself up there. If I was leading that song, wow. Brother Mike's good. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And he's self-taught. Did you know every time we're at a conference together, he spends about 45 minutes to an hour with me. What would you do here? What would you do this? Last youth conference we were at together down at Pastor Owen's. I'm humbled somebody would ask me, because I know what it's like to know nothing. You understand? I don't have a degree in music. Everything I've learned has been out of survival. It's because I figured, okay, if God put me up there, then God must want me to learn as much as I can, and I'm not going to take it too far. I took it heavy. It was big. And it ought to be big. I can't make it big enough to you. Amen. Okay? Preacher, it's 9 o'clock. Do we want to take a break and then come back in and finish this? Okay, are we ready, gentlemen? Yes, sir. Here we go. When looking at, I'm going to work through the intro. I need to work through this. Once again, a pickup measure is an incomplete measure. On Faith is the Victory, 570, I'm coming in on beat 6. And camped along the hills of light. So I'm thinking through the song. Dun 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 dun. I'm letting the pianist know this is how fast I want it. This is okay, but that's every 3 beats. Dun 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 dun. 1 2 3 4 5 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. That's okay. There's my down beats. Okay. So here we go. All right, let's all take our songbooks and let's stand and sing number 570. Faith is the Victory. You can stay seated. You can stay seated. 570 in your songbook. 570. I would need it longer. So he would back up. Okay, I got to work through my intro with him. I need enough time. And remember, too much is better than too little. If I don't give them enough time, they're going to shut it off. And they're going to not sing. And that's not what I want. So here we go. We'll start over again. Let's all stand and take our songbook, number 570 in your songbook. Faith is the Victory, 570. 570, sing with me. And camped along the hills of light, ye Christian soldiers rise, and press the battle ere the night shall veil the glowing skies. Against the foe in vales below, let all our strength be hurled. Faith is the victory we know. Good. How long are you going to hold it? Fermata, correct. Fermata, that's a fermata for you, huh? Okay. Fermata says you can hold it as long. The normal hold on a fermata is twice as long. Now, that still means, and that's if I'm going to hold it and they're not used to me, I'm going to go, faith is the victory. Faith is the victory we know. Watch me. That overcomes the world. Faith. Faith is the victory. Faith is the victory. Oh, glorious victory that overcomes the world. If one arm gets tired, I can rest this one and move it. But remember, I'm keeping the downbeat going. Then I can... It just depends. At our church, we sing 3 verses. You get some good delts up there. Good on the deltoids, okay? That's good on, because we don't have special music at our church yet. But music is very important to a service. So we put more in the congregationals because we don't have specials right now, right? And then I add some songs with my guitar, some chorus songs, and I put chorus songbooks in our thing because we don't have specials in our church yet. But music is very important. We sing. We sing at our church. And even if I don't care how big your church is, that music is important. And if you don't have to have specials. If you don't, yeah, we will one day. But right now we don't. So we do what? We do more here. Dr. Evans used to say, in independent fundamental Baptist churches, we don't normally sing more than 3 verses because most people can't handle it. If you go beyond 3, he said that's what formal churches do. I've never been in a church that sang 4 verses of a hymn. Now, I have heard of churches that every song they sing, it could have 8 verses, but they're singing all 8, bless their heart, okay? I've heard of that, and I don't think it's sinful. And he didn't say it was sinful. He just said, if you're going to do that, you better know what you're doing as a song leader so they don't shut you off. Right? You better know how to keep the attention. Did you hear what I did during the song? Faith is the victory we know. Watch me. That overcomes the world. Faith. Faith is the victory. I talk during the song because I'm comfortable with the song. Keeps them with me. Oh, this song, I've sung this since I was 2. What's he going to... Oh, wow. He really gets into it, doesn't he? Yeah, he does. It's important. Right? Let's look at another one. Let's look at another song. Just kind of, now, I'm going to, here's a good example. Look at 571. Am I a soldier of the cross? See there right next to 570? Okay, there's 3-2. Okay, think with me. Real quick, the top number is divisible by 3, right? The bottom number says what type of a note gets one beat. If it's 2, then that's going to be a half note, gets one beat. A stem and a circle gets one beat. So it's 3 half notes per measure. Everybody follow me? Okay? 3 half notes, okay? Okay, good. I'm glad you're telling me no. If the bottom number is a 4, that's going to be a fourth of a measure. Okay, fourth of a whole note. Okay, so a fourth, a quarter note, fourth, gets one beat.
What does it mean that it gets one beat?
That means in 3/4, every quarter note gets one beat, and I can only count to 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Movement of the hand.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. But there's eighth notes, and there's 2 eighth notes per quarter note. So every 2 eighth notes also get one beat if a quarter note gets 1. I'm busting the notes down, right? Divide it, divide it, divide it, right? 4 16th notes would get 1 beat. Right? No, would get 2 beats. 4 16ths. Okay? 4 32nds would get 4 32nds would get 1 beat. But we don't sing in 30-second notes. Okay? That's why I said that fraction at the start of the song. If I'm looking at Am I a Soldier of the Cross? I'm going to go am. That's beat number 3. Okay? That's a half note that gets 1 beat. But it's not a whole measure. It's the last beat. 1, 2, 3. That's beat 3. Then, I, a soldier. Jur is beat 3. Sol is beat 2. And a dotted quarter note and an eighth note is a half note. That's beat 1. Okay? How many of you this is new? How many of you? Good. This is good to know. This is good to know. Okay? So if I'm going to lead this song, this is probably, if I was, now I can work through this and I can count this myself. But if this was new to me and my preacher wanted this song because it was going to help with maybe a program or something like that, this is a good old Isaac Watts song. I mean, Brother Hiles used to quote this song all the time. You know, if you're not going to sing it, good grief, it'll preach. Am I a soldier of the cross, a follower of the Lamb? And shall I fear to own his cause or blush to speak his name? And then verse number 4, sure I must fight if I would reign. Increase my courage, Lord. I'll bear the toil, endure the pain, supported by thy word. Look at verse 2. Must I be carried to the skies on flowery beds of ease, while others fought to win the prize and sailed through bloody seas? Good song. Good late 1700s song. Good doctrine. Good push. If I didn't know it, it's worth learning. Then who do I go to help? I can go to the pianist and I can say, I need to work through this song. I got to learn this song. And they're either going to learn it with me. I have a second tool, just so you know. They now have wonderful music programs on the computer like Finale and Sibelius. And I would enter the song in one of those, half note, dotted quarter, eighth, half, just like it's written, and then I would hit play and I would let the computer teach me the song. If I did not have a pianist, and sometimes I don't want to wear my pianist out. They're like, if I go, could you play it again? They're like, really? This is the 30th time? Okay, just one more time, I promise I'll get it. I use the computer to teach me songs that are hard in timing. When I'm leading a choir and I'm coming in 2, maybe you're coming in on the and of 2, And they've got to have my cue correct. I'll enter it to the computer, then I'll go through it in perfect pitch and perfect timing on the computer. Boom, and I'll get used to it. And I'll let the computer brainwash me. You understand? That's in complicated timing things. So I can either use my pianist, or there are tools on the computer that you can use. And I use Finale. I used every song we ever did in church is entered into my computer. And okay, I told you I practiced for the Congregationals every Saturday, half hour. Before I directed the choir, 1 hour. Every Sunday our choir practice started at 5 and it went to 6. I had a full hour practice. So I was always at my computer at 3:30. I went over every choir song for an hour, from 3:30 to 4:30. That was me getting ready for choir practice. Somebody's got it. I wish, guys, through desire a man having separated himself seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. There has got to be some fire in you. What do you do when you don't know what to do? Do you quit, or do you just die? You say, I am going to learn this. And I guess what can be frustrating is when you're not willing to give yourself to the whole project. Then dive in, then learn it. Well, I've never done that before. Well, then learn it. Then stay up and learn it. Well, I've never done that before, so I'll pick a different song. If it's what the preacher asked you to do, then learn the song. And you're the better for it, depending on how you gave yourself to the task and how you applied yourself to learn it. It amazes me how quickly people, well, I've never done that before. Did you know most of the stuff I've done in the ministry as an assistant pastor, I never did before? When the preacher said our roof needs shingle, I never shingled a roof. I did after we were done. I'll never forget when he said, we got to replace the steeple because the fiberglass on the steeple is starting to chip off. I'd never done that. We had a crane come in, right? And I get this brilliant idea. I never replaced how do you replace a steeple on a church? I don't know. I got up there with a wrench. I was going to do it. And I did it. But through much heartache and pain. I'll never forget it. I took the rope, wrapped it around, had a cross up at the top, big, tall, 12-foot steeple up at the top. So I figured out this way, wrap it around the base and put it underneath and wrap around both. I got it off just fine. Took it to the fiberglass place, redid the steeple. Came time. Crane comes in. How are we going to get back up there? The crane operator gets this brilliant idea. He says, here, wrap the steeple with the rope, and then I'll raise it up there. But he didn't think if we put it around a bolt that was underneath, you got to get it off at any rate. I was like, that was stupid. Now I got to, he said, no problem. He says, here's what I'll do. Leave the rope on it up there. He lowers the hook down to the floor. It's 30 feet in the air, right? He says, here, I'll make a seat for you. So he makes a seat for me in his crane. He says, here, sit in this. He said, we'll feed the crane thing. This is the front porch of the church, and the steeple's up here. So he feeds the rope through here. He just lowers it down. He said, I'm going to put you in this seat. And he said, I'm going to slowly pull it up, and you can kind of work your way up. He said, and then I want you to just cut that thing. Okay, the crane is doing this, and then I'm going down. What happens when you cut that rope? So I'm up there. I was holding on, all of a sudden, I'm up there. I was like, oh my God. I was swinging. He was having a ball. He was like, I'm watching I'm thinking little assistant pastor go splat. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, what in the world? I did that as an assistant pastor. I never said, oh, I've never done that before. I don't think I can do that. You get up there and you try. You do it and you give it your all and you pour yourself into it. That's why music right now, that's why I tell you young gentlemen, you don't know too much about music, and if you could take music, if you're homeschooled, glory to God. Get on a piano, get on an instrument, and start watching. If you're younger, look at the videos online. Music 101, Music 102, rhythm basics. Start learning it. Learning how to count the music. Learning how to do it. You won't learn too much. It all builds your confidence, so when you get up here and I'm looking at the music, I'm not going, okay? 571, am I a soldier of the cross? Let me count through this. Can you play the lead for me? The cross, a follower of the Lamb, and shall I fear to own his cause, or blush to speak his name? Each quarter note's going to get half a beat, and each half note is going to get one beat. So I'm going to label that song 3, and I'm going to work my way through it. I'm going to work my way through it. And through me and the pianist or me and the computer, we'll learn that song. Let's look at another song. Ready? I've got to be able to look at these. Let's go. Onward Christian Soldiers. Good. 573. I know this one. Is this simple? Good. No pickup measure. Beat number 1 is number 1. Onward Christian. My clover leaf is going to come and play. Onward Christian soldiers, marching as to war. Good. And I can work through it. Right? Let's keep on going. Look at it. I'm looking at here, and I know, okay. Here's a fun one. Go to 536. This is a Bob Jones song. It's been around for a long time. If you never saw the movie Coach, okay, it's a good thing. The man, we had a man in our church in Tennessee that was in the movie Coach. You know, he had one small part. You know, I think it was 2 words in the whole thing. It was his claim to fame. But anyways, okay, here we go. My life. How many don't know this song? Oh, good. This is an old teen camp song. They used to sing this a lot. This is a good song. Have you heard this, Pastor? Okay. Look at this. The first 8th beat is a rest. It's going to come in on the and of 1. So I'm going to do this on this song. Instead of going, I cannot sing this. With my whole heart I humbly seek you. I'm off. I have to do it this way. Boom. With my whole heart I humbly seek you. I yield my stubborn, now use my life, O Lord, I pray. I yield my stubborn will completely. You see what I'm doing? That first, see that 8th rest? It's almost at the start of every measure, isn't it? I have to give room for that. Then when the chorus starts, look down there at the chorus. Ready? There's a whole beat where you're supposed to, that's a rest. That's a 1-beat rest. So I'm going to go like this. Boom. My life, Lord, is yours to control. Rest. I give you my heart and my soul. Rest. I'll seek your will, never mine. Rest. Rich treasure to find. Rest. Give wisdom to choices I make. Y'all see what I'm doing? I would consider this a hard song, but I can do it. I got to think through it. Where are my rests? Where am I resting at? And then I practice it until it's right. And I'm not going to get up in front of the church or in front of the youth group or in front of, I'm not going to get in front of anybody and half-cock do this song. I'll work at it until it's sharp, until it's right. And if I can do it, you can do it. Let's look at another song. I'm just going through this, looking at songs. Okay. Let me see here. If anybody sees a song you'd like. Go to 529. There's a good old common one. Okay. How many don't know this song? Good. Okay, good. Ready? We'll work till Jesus comes. I'm looking at the song as a song leader. I've got one beat. I've got a pickup measure, right? I don't have a complete beat, but I don't have a complete measure, but I do have a 4/4 song. I'm going to use my bread and butter, okay? And I'm going to do this. It's going to start on this. O land of rest, for thee I sigh, when will the moment come when I shall lay my armor by and dwell with peace at home? See what I did? I got to think through the song. This has a pickup measure. I'm coming up, then I come down on it. Okay, let's just do a few more. I know it's 9:30. If you see a song, 228. 228. I hate this song. First time I led it, I'd heard Ethel Waters sing it, you know, from Billy Graham Crusade. And I sing because I'm happy. That's right, Billy. And I sing because... Y'all never seen Ethel Waters sing it? Heard that? So I thought I knew the song, right? Because I had Ethel Waters in my head, right? And I got up and and I didn't practice it because I thought I knew it. Okay? This is a long time ago. All right? So since then I've learned to practice it. But when I look at this song, I'm in 6/8, so that means I'm going to use 2, 3, 4 patterns, right? I'm going to use 2 triangles. Why should I feel discouraged? Why should the shadows come? Why should my heart be lonely and long for heaven and home? I'm going to work at keeping my downbeat. Okay? I would consider this a hard song because I choked on it once. How many don't know this song? Okay, it's a good old song. It's a good song. It's just, it's a little hard. Go to 573. Go to 573. Actually, I'm looking for the song My Redeemer, okay? Let's 653. There we go. 653. Ready? Look at 653. 9/8. If the top number is 573, if the top number 653, right? Is that it? 653. If the top number is divisible by 3, then I can either lead this song this way. Okay? I can either go da 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 da. It's too fast. I need to slow it down. So I'm going to make every 3 beats 1 beat, and I'm going to use 1, 3, 4 pattern when I do this. And it's going to go like this. I will sing of my Redeemer and His wondrous love. That's when I would modify it and use a simple pattern, so I don't look stupid when I'm leading the song. I can do it that way, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can use each downbeat, and that's when I can I can modify the song this way, and I can go, I will sing of my Redeemer, and I can just come down. I'm not going to move any other way, because that's all they're needing. But I've got a 9/8 song there. This is one of my favorite songs. And then notice you had a question. What's yours?
Would it be incorrect at the variations of 3/4 time to call that cut time? Only 4/4 time could be called cut time, wouldn't it?
Cut time is a common time. I've never seen it in compound.
I see it called 2.
It's called 2/2 or cut time, or it's the C, common, with a slash through it. That is used in, I've never seen that in a compound song.
But basically that's what we're doing with this song. We're cutting the time.
I'm cutting the movements. If I cut the time That means I'm speeding the song up twice.
Right, okay.
That would be in reference to the tempo of the song. How I lead the song, now I'm thinking, what do I need to do to not look silly? Okay, so now I'm thinking 3, I'm thinking, can I do this instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and I'm coming down at the start of every measure, so I can use that, but I can't use it in the chorus. In the chorus, does that answer your question? Okay, then look at the chorus. Look at the chorus. The chorus changes to 12/8. Isn't that a blessing? The top number, huh?
Is that what you call that?
Yeah, a blessing, yeah. Okay, 12/8, the top number, is now divisible by 3 and it's divisible by 4, right? Okay, because 3 4s make 12, or 4 3s make 12. So now I can lead, I'm going to lead this song this way. I have to be prepared to change time when I hit that chorus. So I'm going to go, I will sing of my Redeemer and His wondrous love to me. On the cruel cross He suffered from the curse to set me free. Sing! Then I'm going to go to 4/4. Sing, oh sing of my Redeemer. See the pattern that I'm doing? I'm now doing, because it's divisible, I'm 4. I'm doing 3, 4, 4 patterns. Each beat is worth 3 points, right? Sing, oh sing of my Redeemer with His blood. Gentlemen, you can't do that on the fly, what I just did. That's when somebody says, what's your favorite hymn? It's probably that one, if I had one. Somebody says, test the mic. Sing, oh sing of my Redeemer. That's just the song that comes to my heart. But you can't do what I just did on the fly. It would come through you working with your pianist, get the song right. And if you can't get the song right, then you put it off until next time. Unless I have a deadline, good. Remember that song list? 1, 2, 3, chorus and invitation songs? Then we keep it marked in red. How do we introduce a song? Let me close with this. How do you introduce a song? You first, can you follow me on this? Now you got to be thinking, and I'll wrap it up. How do I put a song that's new on my page into the order of service? Let's go from your left to right, okay? I would put it on a Wednesday night. Then the next Wednesday night, middle song. Never start a service on a new song. Don't do that. They need to start the service, especially on a Wednesday night. They're coming in from work. They're just coming in. Put the new song in the middle out of the 3 songs. Make it one Wednesday night, next Wednesday night, 3 Wednesday nights in a row. Then it would go to Sunday night, and then the following week it would go to Sunday morning. Then I can take that song and unmark it red, and now we know it as a church. Wednesday night, middle song. Wednesday night, next week, Sunday night, next week. Now we can sing it on a Sunday morning, and the majority of the people know it. But what I've watched most people do, how they introduce a new song, and you can watch. Sometimes in our church, when we got our new hymn book, and just because Pastor Nash knows it doesn't mean everybody knows it. And I'll watch them when they're singing. And my song leader, he's nervous. He's working at getting it right, and he does. But he's not watching the people. I'm watching the people. So if they're choking out there and I'm watching about a third of them sing and the rest of them are just studying the words, we'll come to, he goes, verse 2, I'll say, how many have never heard this song before? And they'll raise their hand. Let's sing that first verse again. Let's sing that first verse again. Then he'll go at it again. If they get look, people come to church, if they're new and they're a visitor, they're already embarrassed because they don't know what you're doing. You want them to, the song service is very important. That's your job, song leader. Help them out. Okay? Any other questions before we get ready to go? Yes, sir.
So on your 1, 2, 3 in your list, you mark what day you sing this song, so you don't sing it within a couple weeks? Or...
Mm-mm. I take that song sheet that I have printed off, and then as I go through on my computer, all my cue cards are dated for the year. In a folder called 2017. This last Sunday's was 0409. This Sunday's will be 0416, then 0423, and it's all in that folder. And when I click on that Word file, I got 3 blanks. First song, second song, third song, and then we sing a victory song. Okay? So I just go down my list. I don't pay attention to when we sing them. I plug them in my cue cards. And then it takes us at our church, because I want our repertoire as big as possible, because that music teaches. If they're good songs,
Yes, sir.
it takes us 6 months to ever sing a repeat out of the book. Some churches, they'll sing it. That doesn't make a good or bad church. I'm just saying, if it's your job to incorporate the music into the church, then teach the people the songs, and don't let some of the old hymns die.
Yes, sir. Right.
Don't let the songs that teach good doctrine. Byron Fox is phenomenal at his knowledge of stuff.
Yes, sir.
There's songs in that book that everybody ought to know, and if they don't, then take them through the pattern. Put them in the cue cards then. But you can't do that on the fly.
Right.
If you're throwing it together 2 hours before, it's, oh yeah, when did we, okay, well, it's been a while since we sung that. Go through your list, then systematically put them in unless preacher needs something special for it. And then when you get to the bottom of song list 2, in my song book, the number 2 song list is the longest. The number 3 is the next longest, and the number 1 I only have a page and a half on, but the other ones I have 3 pages on. So when I get to the bottom of it, I start up at the top again. Start putting them in the cue cards, unless it's Christmas or patriotic or Thanksgiving. Does that make sense? Okay? But my cue cards are normally done about 2 weeks in advance, because I don't have an orchestra and I don't have a choir. That's the way I do it now. But you can go back. If you looked on my computer, my cue cards are in 2015 when I became the pastor, 2014, 15, 16, and this year 17. And then I put them in there, and then I plug those songs in from my list. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Good question. I hope that's an organizational question. I'm just that way. Any other questions? Gentlemen, I have really, yes, sir.
What was that CD? Who made it? And you said it had the whole...
Hymns?
Yes.
That's Faith Music Missions. That's David Chamberlain. He's the main pianist there, probably one of the top pianists in America. And he made CDs for churches that don't have a pianist, and you can pick the hymn that you want to sing. He'll give you the intro. It's completely long enough, and then you always sing 3 verses on those. And you would play it through the sound system, but you got to practice with that too. I've had 2 Sundays where I didn't have a pianist. We had to use those, and it takes practice, and I'll work with my sound man. Okay, hit it now. Now I'm looking at the songbook, and I'm getting used to his intro, and then you sing with it. But that's Faith Music Missions. Okay? Anybody else? Anybody else? Gentlemen, this is a world, and I wish I had you for a semester at least, because you can dive into this world and never come out and be all the better for it. I'm not telling you. I'm just saying what breaks my heart is when you watch a song leader not give his all. Well, he's just not musically trained. No, that's not it. He didn't pour himself into it. Now the teenagers get bored, and they'd rather listen to rock music than sing in the church, and that is a tragedy.
Yes, sir.
That's a tragedy. What's your question, Brother Logan?
When you have your music school this summer, you're going to be teaching some of the evangelistic song leading.
Yes.
Are you going to cover this same material, or are you going to do some other things?
It'll
with it?
cover this, and if I had time, okay, I'm going to take a simple song like Leaning on the Everlasting Arms, and I would have you come up and lead it, and then I would tell you, I would criticize you personally, saying, do this with your arms, do it again, do this, and I'll cover this material and more, okay? The counting of the music, wow. I could spend 2 weeks on rhythm, and you would be the better for it. You understand? But I won't do that when I teach evangelistic song leading this summer at our church. When Brother Zachary is teaching piano, I'll be teaching song leading. I'll cover some of this, but I'll try to get like each man up there and say, lead this song. Well, I'm not comfortable with that. What song are you comfortable with? Come tomorrow ready to lead it. And then I'm going to have you introduce it, say the number 3 times, and then I'll say, okay, where do you want to hold it? Okay? Like if you're going to lead Blessed Assurance,
This is my story, this is my song.
then you mark that songbook. You put the fermata. This is my story. This, and you make sure the pianist knows what you're doing. But I'll work with you more individually. Does that make sense?
Good, thank you. So for someone who's completely unfamiliar with the terminology and things like that, would the internet be a good place to start?
You always with the internet, you got to be careful. But I will say this: when you type in music, rhythm, and basic music, the videos, the 5 and 10 minute videos that come up, they're very helpful. And you'll get, 15 different teachers teaching the same thing. And I'm not endorsing YouTube, okay? I'm just saying there's a lot on the internet. If you've never been exposed to it, my goodness, the counting is so important. Okay? And if anything, you know what? If something like this tells you tonight you don't know and you need to, then I hope the Lord's able to use it to push you, to say, you know what? I better pay attention to that.
Yes, sir.
And I might need to dive into that and learn it.
Yes, sir.
Okay? I don't want to be a frustration to my pianist, okay? Because they want to please. They want to please. Any other questions? Preacher? Amen. Gentlemen, been good being with you. Amen.